Jacob Costa? Looking for me again? Don't tell me you think those special trees you gave me last time weren't enough? Coming to give me more? That's pretty nice of you. Actually, funny timing. Most of my special trees got wrecked recently, like they were having a really bad day. I could definitely use some new ones to replace them.
Jacob Costa's face twisted up like he'd bitten into something sour. His old scar, a reminder of past fights, stood out even more as his face turned red with anger. Zane had just poked at his sore spot, and he looked ready to explode right there in the street.
Shut your mouth. I haven't even started on how you tricked me and stole my trees, and here you are bragging about it. You got some nerve. Forget all that other stuff. Just give back the Death Divine tree. That's all I care about right now. Hand it over.
Jacob Costa thrust out his hand like he expected Zane to just drop the tree right into it. His fingers were trembling slightly, giving away how angry he really was.
And what if I don't feel like it? What are you going to do about it? You really are stupid, aren't you? Like talking to a brick wall.
Zane couldn't even be bothered to take this seriously. In his mind, the rules were simple. Anything he won fair and square belonged to him now. The very idea of giving it back was like asking him to give away his own arm. The sun would probably fall from the sky first. Zane's casual don't-care attitude hit Jacob Costa like a slap in the face. His fists were clenched so tight his knuckles turned white, and a vein pulsed in his forehead. Every fiber of his being wanted to teach Zane a lesson in respect. But deep in his gut, a cold truth sat like a stone. He simply wasn't strong enough to beat Zane. Their last fight had proven that painfully well.
Zane, this isn't a game anymore. Hand over the Newland Space and the Death Divine Tree. Now, this is your only warning.
William Costa stepped forward, his every movement releasing waves of scary power that only fighters of true Marshal King level had. The energy felt like storm clouds gathering before a massive hurricane, heavy, dark, and promising destruction. The very air around him seemed to bend and twist.
So you're at Marshal King level, huh? No wonder you're so full of yourself.
The powerful energy display got everyone's attention for blocks around. People started gathering in doorways and on rooftops, eager to see what would happen. Some even closed their shops early. This was better than any street performance.
Hey, isn't that William Costa from Death Hall? The one they say can split mountains? And that's his brother Jacob Costa who just joined. What beef do they have with this Zane guy?
You haven't heard the story? It's all anyone's been talking about. 2 months ago, Zane tricked Jacob Costa into a bet and won all his special trees, every single one.
What? All the 5 elements divine trees? Gone just like that? Man, this Zane's either got massive guts or a death wish.
Is he crazy? Doesn't he know these guys work directly for the Death Hall Master? Even the Palace Lords think twice before crossing that man.
And they're from the Costa family too. Even the Death Hall Master himself has to show them respect. Zane's digging his own grave here.
Wait, it gets better. That Death Divine Tree he won? That was supposed to be a gift for the Death Hall Master himself. Zane basically snatched a present right out of the Master's hands.
The crowd kept growing, people pushing and shoving to get a better view. Parents lifted children onto their shoulders, and some clever merchants started selling snacks to the spectators. Most people thought Zane was being incredibly stupid, making enemies of both the powerful Costa family and the terrifying Death Hall Master, barely after joining Wormhaven Palace. The air was thick with excitement. Lots of people couldn't wait to see Zane get what they thought he deserved. Some were already taking bets on how long he'd last against a fighter at Marshal King level.
Get back the Death Divine Tree? Ha! That's the funniest thing I've heard all week. Are we living in different worlds? Let's refresh everyone's memory here. You and I were there, with plenty of witnesses watching, when you made that bet. Everyone saw you agree to it? Or are you saying your word means nothing?
Jacob Costa knew deep down he was in the wrong, but his pride wouldn't let him admit it. His face got even redder as he tried to argue his way out.
Don't twist things around. I only meant to bet one tree, not all of my 5 elements divine trees. You took advantage of me, and you know it.
Oh, this is rich. Let me get this straight. You tried to bet one measly tree against my Dragon Envoy title and all of Newland space. And you're calling me unfair. Is your brain completely broken? Or were you just born this stupid...
When the crowd heard this part of the story, the reaction was instant and explosive. The whole street erupted with shouts and laughter.
Holy crap! He bet one tree against all that? That's like betting a copper coin against a mountain of gold. Jacob Costa's not just shameless, he's an idiot.
If I was Zane, I wouldn't have stopped at just taking the trees. I'd have taken everything the fool owned, down to his last pair of socks.
The crowd's words hit Jacob Costa like physical blows. His face cycled through shades of red like a sunset, and his whole body trembled with rage and embarrassment. Some people in the crowd were even pointing and laughing now. William Costa couldn't stand watching his brother get humiliated any longer. He hadn't known his younger brother had tried such a shameless trick, but family was family. Besides, their real mission was getting Newland. All this talk about the Death Divine Tree was just a smokescreen.
Enough! Everyone shut their mouths. Here's how this is going to go, Zane. That Death Divine Tree belongs to our master. You've got 2 choices. Hand it over nicely, or we rip apart Newland, piece by piece, until we find it. Or maybe you'd prefer we call our master here. I'm sure he'd love to handle this personally.
The mention of the Death Hall Master sent a chill through the crowd. People started backing away, trying to put some distance between themselves and what they were sure would turn into a battlefield. Everyone knew how Wormhaven Palace worked. Its 12 halls were like 12 mountains, each one incredibly powerful in its own right. Every hall master had earned their position through amazing deeds and terrifying strength. These masters were so powerful that most people wouldn't dare to even look them in the eye. Stories said some could reshape landscapes with a wave of their hand, but Zane's expression didn't change a bit. He figured that even someone as powerful as the Death Hall Master had to follow certain rules. Nobody would kill a promising young fighter over a tree, no matter how special it was. Besides, Zane knew he was in the right. This whole thing started with a fair bet. If anyone deserved punishment, it was Jacob Costa for trying to cheat him.
I'm done wasting time with you two. I got actual important business at the Hall of Foreign Affairs. Go find someone else to bother with your nonsense.
Zane turned to leave, the tiger-shaped plant held carefully in his hand. The crowd parted to let him through, some nodding with respect at his bravery or foolishness. But William Costa's eyes, sharp as a hawk's, caught sight of the plant. The moment he saw it, his whole body went stiff with shock. His face turned pale as snow.
That plant! Impossible! That's the tiger-shaped grass! You've been in the hole!
Now everything clicked into place. If Zane had found the tiger-shaped grass, that meant he'd broken through their barrier in Sky Mountain. And if he'd gotten that far...
Hand over that grass now, Zane. You have no idea what you're messing with.
Without another word, William Costa attacked. The air crackled with deadly power as he unleashed a palm strike that could shatter mountains. The world turned dark around them. The ground cracked and sank beneath their feet. Even the air itself started shaking, like it might tear apart. William Costa's attack looked like a massive hand reaching up from the underworld, ready to drag Zane down to hell. Zane's expression changed for the first time as he leaped backwards. His hands flashed through complex patterns, weaving wind and thunder power together into his palm. The air around him began to glow with green and yellow light.
Dragon Emperor's palm!
A sound like a real dragon's roar split the sky. A massive blood-red dragon claw, bigger than a house, materialized from Zane's hand and crashed into William Costa's attack head-on. The collision shook the whole street. Windows rattled in their frames. A storm of pure power sent all 3 fighters flying backward, and the watching crowd had to grab onto anything solid to avoid being blown away.
This is impossible! Zane actually stopped a Martial King's attack? The world's gone crazy.
He's barely started his training, and he's matching someone who could level our whole city. What kind of monster is he?
Now I understand why he acts so confident. If I had power like that, I wouldn't be afraid of anyone either.
Forget Zane. I'd be 10 times more arrogant with that kind of strength.
The spectators stood frozen, jaws hanging open, eyes wide with disbelief. Some were pinching themselves. Sure, they must be dreaming. Everyone who knew anything about martial arts understood one basic truth. Reaching martial king level was like crossing a vast ocean. Those who made it were like gods compared to those who hadn't. The gap was so huge that most people said anyone below martial king level was like an ant trying to fight an elephant. One fighter at martial king level could easily wipe out 100 lower level warriors without breaking a sweat. Sure, once in a blue moon you'd hear stories about some genius who could challenge a cultivator at martial king level before reaching that level themselves. But those people were rarer than phoenix feathers and dragon scales. Those rare prodigies always went on to become legendary figures once they actually reached martial king level. Their names would echo through history, but nobody, absolutely nobody, had ever heard of someone at Zane's level not just fighting, but actually stopping an attack from a cultivator at martial king level. Even if William Costa wasn't using his full power, what Zane had just done should have been as impossible as catching lightning in a bottle. The world they thought they understood had just turned upside down.
Thank you for listening. For more videos, please subscribe, comment, like and share. Thank you.